It's Sunday. I'm chilling. My nails are the representation of my life right now. Still cute, right? But like missing a couple of pieces. On goodness, on God. The reason why I even hopped on this today or like thought to record a video was twofold. One, it's getting close to the end of the year and everything. And obviously when we get close to the end of the year, we always start reflecting. We always start looking at what needs to like disappear, what needs to kind of like not be in our space anymore because it's not serving us. And we're always just like processing what like needs to be let go of, right? And of course, because I have, taken the time to invest in myself even more, to be very conscious of like the things that are appearing, as far as just like the lessons, like what is it that I'm supposed to be learning? What is it that I am supposed to kind of like take from this? And how do I master this in order to move to the next level? And today, I woke up this morning like in a really great mood, had a really fun night last night. I guess because this is my channel, tapping back into that sexual energy that has like always existed. So like I was as I like to say, a bathhouse bunny back in the day. Bathhouse bunny meaning somebody who used to like go to the bathhouses and stuff like that. If you know what those are, basically just like where mostly men will go, and like, guys will like go like fucking rooms and shit like that. Now, I'm not interested in getting invested in that, but that voyeur lifestyle has always been very interesting to me. So let's just say that I've been learning how to tap back into that reality and what that means for me as a human, and releasing a lot of the negative connotations that I've had around my life, and just like, what feels right and what I've been running away from, if that makes sense. As somebody who has been a victim of assault in a variety of different ways, it's always very difficult to kind of like find that middle ground, if that makes sense, or just like I've been searching for it for the last 30 years. And I feel like I finally found where it is, and now I can live my life as freely as I want within boundaries, and also reminding myself what it is like to establish boundaries with other people, because I've always struggled with that, which actually leads me perfectly into why I'm even fucking here. Don't you hate when other people's feelings seem like they're trying to dictate your actions? Like when somebody else is telling you how they feel about something, I'm assuming under the guise or under the assumption that because they feel this way, you're going to take those emotions, take that opinion, and like manipulate it, flip it, and reverse it in order to make you do something different. And like when it doesn't, that person gets frustrated with you, that person gets mad, that person gets distant. So this morning I had a conversation with my brother. So just for clarity, my brother and I are 4 years apart, 4 years, 4 months. And we were talking about, because this week has been, I will say that this week has been amazing. It's been a little slow but fast, if that makes sense, but it's been amazing. In the sense of like me just having a very grounding week, and just like very, if it wasn't my life, I wouldn't believe that this week happened. I had my Buzzfeed video. Shout out to Buzzfeed. Shout out to Leah for the opportunity to be able to, apply and film, pull in, tarot cards and stuff like that, and doing readings for people. And shout out to all the people that are brand new here and stuff like that. And being able to share kind of like this story with me, this journey, because that's what it is for me. It's like me being able to like document this journey. But anyway, Buzzfeed came out. Some other really amazing things were happening this week. I had a friend of mine that's been staying with me, and we had some very like healing conversations. And I don't know, I kind of like chalked it up to like playing house with somebody, because you're up in somebody's face all day or what have you. But the biggest thing that happened for me this week was in regards to family, and like dealing with family situations. So before the BuzzFeed video came out, I made the decision to call my grandmother, and tell her that this video was about, she knew that I went to California. She knew that I was filming with BuzzFeed, had no idea, because, she's older, what that is, but she didn't know it was about tarot card readings, and she doesn't know that that's what I do full time. My family knows that I've transitioned into entrepreneurship. I would say like the immediate, so like, father, mother, stepmother, are all aware. Mother and father do not support. My father actually told me he would have rather me lose my apartment than support me when I almost lost my apartment a couple of months ago. And my grandmother, let's just give a little bit of context to why I haven't really shared the complete gamut of like my life. Grandmother's a minister, family's grown up very, very church related, you know what I'm saying? Grew up in the Baptist church, specifically right after Don't Ask, Don't Tell, because that's when I got kind of like dragged out the closet or whatever. But that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. Anyway, back when I was younger, maybe in my early 20s, the whole gay thing was something that was not necessarily plaguing me, but plaguing my family, and the fact that I felt like they didn't know, and that was a very like, to me, not necessarily obvious, but just like important part of like my identity. Even though it's not my full identity, it's still an important part that needs to be accepted and acknowledged. And this was probably like 2013. I remember I was in therapy, and I was dealing with a lot of these struggles, especially being out of the nest for the first time, being far away from home and everything like that. And the way that I thought it best to, share my information and share my coming out was on Facebook. I remember I posted a Facebook status, basically just like, listen, this is what it is, whatever. We're not going to avoid these conversations no more. So if you have a question, let me know. Because my family did a very good job of trying to hide that, or, not allowing me to feel comfortable enough, honestly, to be able to share that because of the repercussions it would, garner for them. So I felt like that was the best way for me to be able to share that information without going through that channel of them filtering everything, shady, but something I needed to do for me. Like, it was something I needed to do for me to be able to be like, this is real, and this is something that cannot hide anymore, and I cannot curtail to somebody else's emotions about what I should be doing, if that makes sense. Well, let's just say that it has spawned so much since then, because I have dealt with that for a very long time. Obviously I love a good nail set, even though I'm like pulling them off because I really just want my nails back, and I've been too lazy to like go to the store and get them done. Always been talked about as far as like having nails and stuff like that. Always been kind of like judged for, because I used to have like a black nail when I was like younger or whatever. My mom asked me if I was doing drag at one point. So I've always dealt with these like microaggressions in my life. And so fast forward to recently, I was like, let me call my grandmother, let her know this is coming out. Just go ahead, own up to it. Had a complete breakdown. Shout out to my friend that was here, Manny, for just like being there and being present, because I would have been able to, but it was so much better to have somebody there. I'm so not used to having people there when I'm going through these moments of like transformation and just like really being able to establish who I am and my sense of self and being comfortable enough to do that. So I remember I called her and, I explained to her that this is like coming out because I've been told that it was going to be coming out on Tuesday. And, I just want you to be aware just so that way, there's no question, what have you. And, she explained she doesn't believe in it. And the whole conversation about God. So I'm just going to, step on my soapbox for a little bit. I believe in God. I believe in spirit. I believe in Buddha. I believe in Allah. I believe in God in many forms, right? And I feel like my personal journey, my personal search in life is to get closer to God in many forms, get closer to spirit in so many forms, which is the reason why I practice so many things. I'm always studying. I'm always trying out new things, because me being able to dive into that side of myself, that deeper side of myself that isn't here in this physical realm, allows me to be able to get closer to my whole self and be able to bring forth these conversations with me, because these are conversations with me, like these thoughts. Like most of the time I do these videos and I'm just like, I need to get this off my chest, and I might as well go ahead and get it off my chest, because at the end of the day, I know somebody else is out there struggling with this, and I would much rather there's somebody that's sharing this information, sharing this like vulnerability, to let me know that I'm not by myself. And it's not like a cry for help. It's more about like building community, because at the end of the day, sometimes the people that are out there that are experiencing the same things that you're going through are all that you have in order for you guys to remind each other like you can make it through. And that's how I found so much solace in my life up until this point. But yeah, she wasn't very receptive. For me, I just find it interesting that, even though I can be of assistance to so many people, like when I was in the classroom teaching kids, educating, that's fine. But when I'm educating the world in a way that is not quote unquote conventional, then I'm looked at as selling my soul to the devil, quoted words. And that is the furthest from the truth, which is the most interesting thing. And if it's just, you know, it's funny because people have these ideas and these perceptions about what your life is based off of like the outside view, but have no idea like what's going on inside unless you speak about it. Now we'll, you know, tell you here first, like I don't share everything, but I will share what's going on that's relevant and that I know needs to be shared because the spirit, you know, leads me to do such. And like, I don't know. I've been very much in this place of obviously like self-acceptance. Like I'm very much like I can't give all that smoke because I know how it is to give smoke and what that, you know, what that comes with in return. But it's also just like there are certain boundaries in life that um we shouldn't have to apologize for. We shouldn't have to acknowledge somebody else's misunderstanding or misconception based off of an understanding that they have on their own lifestyle, their own opinion. You know what I mean? And sometimes that's hard because especially with people that you've grown up with, people that you have looked at as like a hero, people you've revered for a long time, when they like break that chain or break that reality or break that mentality of them not being perfect, then all of a sudden, you know, sometimes we can start throwing daggers at them mentally, spiritually, emotionally. And, you know, have you ever taken a moment to think like, how does that benefit you? And would you want that to be done to you? So, you know, I always try to take that into account, which is why even in these situations, like with my family and stuff like that, I'm always just like, how can I still reach out? If only my father knew that every morning I have this, it's like a notification. It's like call my dad, just in case, you know, because I have to like program my mind in order to remind myself to do it. And I have been the type of person, like I'll call every couple of days, but I just wanted to get more intentional. And something came to me earlier this week to make sure that I was calling him regularly. And I don't know, it's just like, I find it interesting. Like we can do only so much, but it's all about the intention and all about just like reminding yourself, like you can't beat a dead horse. You can still, you know, maintain your sense of self in whatever way that feels authentic to you, but don't give that up for somebody else just because, you know, you're trying to placate them, you're trying to please them. I've spent the majority of my life working on pleasing others. And that was very empty. And I refuse to, you know, pour from an empty cup anymore. And as I'm able to help others in the most authentic way to me possible, the way that fills me up the most. And that's always growing, that's ever changing. You know, I'm always like learning what it is that I should be doing on a larger level. Like I feel like this is like the ground level and I'm loving where the ground level is. Like I'm loving the entry level because at the entry level, I'm learning so many different skills. But there's also so much judgment that comes up. It's funny because I did have these cards here. So every night before bed, I pull cards for myself and I put them underneath my pillow. And two of the cards that came out last night are the decision card. And it says, release yourself from that which holds you back and need to detox unnecessary worry based on a lack of self-confidence. And the three of Michael, release the past. You will grow from this situation. Time heals all wounds. So this video is honestly like a way of me healing myself. And it may not make sense to others, but we all have ways that we need to heal based off of our own personal experiences that help us to get closer to, you know, what it is that we should be doing or who it is that we see ourselves being. And it sucks. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm not hurt because I mean, I am, but I also know that I can't give up. I can't stop trying. I can't stop, you know, giving that love because at the end of the day, that's like what I have built my life on. And it's always served me. It's served me in such a way where I can't not, you know, possess it. And even for people that, you know, throw that ignorant shit my way. But at the end of the day, I also know that I don't have to take on anything additional that is not needed. And it's never going to be simple to have to confront your demons and confront those situations that are heart-wrenching, those situations that are difficult, those situations that really make you determine whether or not you want to do what you're doing. Like this could be one of those things like I want to placate my parent. I don't want them mad at me or I don't, you know, but I'm also just like, I am grown as fuck. And there was a level of fear that I carried for so long because of trying to always ascertain myself to their standard of what I was or what I was supposed to be. You know, being the academic for so long, which that journey, I would, you know, give that back for anything. School and just being in school really helped me to develop my intelligence, my intellect, but also develop my sense of self in a different way. But then myself being able to take getting out of that and being able to live the way that I do now. All of what I've experienced up until this point hasn't been easy, but it's shaped me into the human being that's been able to rationalize enough to come from a space of understanding, knowing that everybody has their own personal experience, and until it makes sense for them, it won't click. And I know that until I'm like bigger, until I'm like a household name, until I'm on magazines, until I'm, interviewing on panels, until I'm, traveling the world, it won't make sense. And that's okay. It may not make sense to everybody, but the people that do understand are here, and that's all that I can ask for, because I humbly submit to whatever understanding it is that helps me to get closer to my soul's mission, to the truth that I've always wanted to live. And if this is the ground floor, if this is the beginning level, the beginning stages, I can't and won't complain, because where the fuck does that get us? So even though I'm in the space of like trying to process how do I move forward, I also know that I cannot hold myself back from the greatness that is out there. And I know that there are people out there, in the queer community that have experienced the same thing. Because I know it's like, for me personally, like being Black and gay was already like one stage of like trauma and drama. So like, why can't we do it again? And I had years of practice with that, like hella years, decades of practice with that. So like, this is going to be a cakewalk. You feel what I'm saying? I've already established my sense of self enough to not have to be concerned about everybody else's opinions. And it took me a long time to get there. So please know that if you are in a space of struggle, if you are in a space of like trying to really feel comfortable with yourself, do not rush it, but know that you will get there as long as you continue to listen to your gut and listen to your intuition. Because I'm always ready with the smoke, but I also have an ear of listening ear and an understanding ear, so I'm willing to listen. But if you're not coming to me with facts, and you also don't understand that my personal experience is my personal experience, then so be it. And that's something that I'm also learning too, in regards to just like, having ideas or having feelings about what other people are, maybe doing, and knowing that, they are going to have to figure out stuff for themselves. Even if I'm on the outside looking in, I can't dictate, how they're supposed to feel, what they're supposed to do, because that's on them. So I ask for that same respect on this end. But this year is almost over. This decade is almost over. I'm getting ready to go to, this is the other thing. Like, my life is so amazing. I'm so grateful. I've never been this happy. Even like, I've been happier when I was in Los Angeles. That was like the peak, honestly. I'm so ready to move. I got to get out of New York. This city has been draining my spirit. I feel it. And I've been having to, purchase so many different things, protection oils, like different stuff like that, just to be able to function. And it shouldn't have to be like that every day. Damn, I lost my train of thought. But no, it's just like, I'm at the space where I feel the best that I ever have in my adult life. And I wouldn't want that any other way. And I'm grateful that I can be this transparent, because there was a space and a time where I did not feel comfortable enough to. And I'm seeing the changes transform around me, like on a daily basis, like physically. And, the physical manifestation of this to me is like the spiritual and like emotional, manifestation and upgrade of like what's to come. And for that reason alone, I'm not going to stop, because I'm not hurting anybody. I'm helping myself first. And because I get to help others on the back end, that's makes my heart sing. But this is 30. I'm getting ready to go to Toronto. I've been trying to get out of the country for the last 3 or 4 years, ever since I went to Cuba and had a really good, but life-altering experience. And I'm going to Toronto to celebrate the new year, starting in a new country for a new decade. You can't tell me God ain't good. You can't tell me the spirit don't move. So I will just say this to anybody that is questioning, energy workers, healers, what have you. I'm a Reiki master, so by default, I'm an energy worker. I use tarot cards as a way to, basically depict the picture, depict the journey for others. I don't need the cards, I just use them. But at the end of the day, if you believe, or anybody believes, and I know that this specifically happens in communities of color, that, energy healing or, being of assistance to the collective, like, didn't God say he put angels on the earth to be able to walk amongst, the other souls, to be able to be of assistance to light up those other souls? Correct me if I'm wrong. And that's just what I'm here to do. So I can only humbly serve. And I know that, stones will be cast my way, because they already have been all my life. But that shit made me ready. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that things don't hurt, but at the end of the day, I know how to filter out what needs to be coming my way. And the love is what overtakes the darkness always. But I'm actually going to end here because I need to do my daily show very soon. And this is 30. Judgment is going to come from, a variety of directions. But will you stand firm in the storm? How you going to act? Hallelujah.